The bright side of addiction is recovery. And eventually, every addict will use for their last time, but not all of them will live to talk about it. Hi, everyone. I'm Neil Scott. If you're new to our podcast, we welcome you. If you've been here before, welcome back. Nice to have you here. And if you are in recovery or know or love someone who is, or you simply want to know more about the recovery process, or maybe you're a bit concerned about someone you know or love who harmfully uses alcohol or any other drug, this is the podcast for you as we carry the message of hope and the promise of recovery. And a reminder that you can find all of our podcasts at recoverycoasttocoast.org. Recent episodes have featured interviews with Sir Anthony Hopkins, singer-songwriter Bonnie Raitt, authors J.A. Jance and Anne Lamott, Tom Farley, he's the brother of the late comedy legend Chris Farley, and many other prominent people in long-term recovery, plus conversations with everyday people in long-term recovery, sharing their story, their insight, their path. 2 near-fatal overdoses nearly claimed the life of today's guest, an award-winning actress who has appeared on stage and in numerous movies and television shows, including the hit TV show One Day at a Time. That's right, Mackenzie Phillips. She stands tall today in her recovery, literally living, not acting, one day at a time. Here is a quick clip from today's program with Mackenzie Phillips.
It's not treatment that doesn't work, it's you that didn't work. People think of treatment as some sort of magic wand that we wave in front of the face of a family.
And in 28 days, you're going to be well.
Right. Well, look, I know people with 28 days that are more serene and doing more in the day that they're in than some people with 28 years.
Yeah. And later in the podcast, on The Last Word, we'll hear from award-winning novelist Elizabeth Gilbert. She's the one who wrote the million-selling book, Eat, Pray, Love. She will get today's last word. Our website is recoverycoasttocoast.org, and if you'd like to help us out financially or know of a foundation or a corporation that might be interested in underwriting part of our program, we'd love to hear from you. We would be ever so grateful. A reminder, our email address is recoverycoasttocoast@comcast.net. We'd love to hear from you. Recovery Coast to Coast is supported by Sundown M Ranch, one of America's oldest, least expensive, and most successful treatment programs. In fact, they're listed in Newsweek magazine's recent list of America's top treatment providers. This month, Sundown M Ranch celebrating its 58th birthday. 58 years ago, they treated just over 100 patients in their first year. Today, 58 years later, some 200,000 adults, adolescents, and family members have received treatment at Sundown. What has made Sundown so successful? Well, consistency, compassion, and a well-trained staff that has been together for a long time. Also, they are a non-profit treatment center, not for profit. Now, that means, among other things, it's far less expensive than to send someone to a fancy program that charges a lot of money. It's far less expensive than some of the fancy programs that charge a lot more money. Sundown's bottom line is not financial, it's the patient's long-term recovery. Sundown M Ranch is an inpatient program, but they build a bridge back into the family, back into the workplace, and the community, because treatment is really just the first stop for what hopefully will be a lifelong program of recovery. Getting sober is just the first part. Living a rich, full, and growth-centered life, that's what recovery is all about. At Sundown, their motto is, the patient is the reason we are here. They're abstinence-based and 12-step centered. Sundown takes most major insurance, and if money is a problem, they have some financing options that can help you. Addictive disease is a serious and often fatal disease. If you're looking for a treatment center for a friend or a loved one, don't be distracted by the glitz and glamour of high-priced centers. Consider Sundown M Ranch in your research. with close to 60 years of success. Now, to find out more about Sundown M Ranch, visit their website where you can take a look at their treatment facility. You can take a look at their treatment philosophy. To find out more about Sundown M Ranch, visit their website where you can take a look at their treatment philosophy and see photos of their facility right at the mouth of the Yakima River Canyon, not far from Seattle. Sundown.org, where recovery begins. Coffee and conversation time. I'm having a nice cup of coffee myself. Today's conversation with award-winning actress Mackenzie Phillips took place a few years back down in San Diego at an NAATP conference. Now, although she starred in TV's One Day at a Time, today she actually lives life one day at a time. She talks about her struggles, her relapse after 10 years, and the gratitude that she has today in long-term recovery. Joining us in this segment, actress Mackenzie Phillips. You remember her from American Graffiti. She did that when she was 12 years old, went on to star in One Day at a Time. And then addiction took its toll. A couple of near-fatal overdoses. She went through treatment, I know, once at Fair Oaks. Then in 1981, the producers brought her back. She had a relapse. She has appeared in numerous movies and TV series. She's now back in recovery. And so from TV star of One Day at a Time to living life one day at a time. How ironic. Mackenzie, welcome to the program.
Thank you so much. It's wonderful to be here.
It's been a long road for you, has it not?
Indeed it has.
A lot of twists, a lot of turns.
Oh, you know, every great story has a lot of twists and turns, right?
Take us back to what it was like, and how bad did it get for Mackenzie Phillips?
Imagine the darkest you can think of, and that's what it was. It was just me alone in a room with a needle and a spoon and cigarettes and heroin and cocaine and thinking, wow, I am screwed. I am in so much trouble, and either someone's going to come and scoop me out of this mess or I'm going to die. And then the next day, I was on my way to New York to do a One Day at a Time reunion on the Rachel Ray show, and I got arrested at security. No, I am so grateful, because I got arrested at security for felony possession at Los Angeles International Airport.
What year was this?
This was 2008,
okay.
August of 2008. And I am forever grateful to the LAPD and the airport police for stopping me, this girl, in her tracks, because I would not be sitting here right now.
What was different this time?
I had 10 years previously. And so, towards the end of my electric relapse, that was kind of brutal and horrible, whose isn't, I would be sitting in my room alone thinking, if we are painstaking about this phase of our development, we will be amazed before we are halfway through. We are going to know a new freedom and a new happiness, as I'm putting a needle in my arm.
Oh.
And so, that old thing that we say is like, there's nothing worse than a belly full of booze and a head full of 12-step information. I lived that, and it got really bad. And what was different was that, what was different? I don't know that anything was different, except that I knew I was going to die, and that I wanted to live. And so, that's what, and also for me, when I wrote High on Arrival, which is my memoir, I believe that I had been carrying so much darkness that I had never actually spoken about, that it was continuing to perpetuate illness, an unwell state of mind, and that I had put out so many sanitized versions of my so-called healthy psyche, when in fact there was that one last piece that was missing in the narrative. And so I was able to bring that to light, and ever since then I've felt absolutely free. Does that make sense?
It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Mackenzie Phillips joining us tonight on Recovery Coast to Coast. Along the way, were there people who tried to intervene, who tried to say, Mackenzie, we got to get you some help?
There were people, but I had cameras at the front door and bolts and locks and and special phone rings programmed into my cell phone that made the sound of like, so I'd know when someone was calling that was going to want to help me, and I would go and double engage the locks, and close the curtains, and it's dark. It's some dark stuff, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2008, you were arrested at LAX. Take us from that point. What happened after you were booked?
Oh, it was just the worst. My sister Bijou tells a really funny story. She came to see me, and she said I kind of shuffled into the visiting room with the glass in between, and I had she said, she said, "Look at you, you're in jail." I'm like, "I know I'm in jail." And she goes, "Look, you have jail food." I had like a burrito and a carton of milk.
Oh.
And she goes, "Look at you with your jail food." And I said, "F you." And she said, "I'm not bailing you out." I said, "Fine, I don't want to go home anyway. I'm going to stay here forever." It was awful. I mean, it was awful. I mean, I can laugh about it now, and if you heard Bijou tell the story, you would really laugh about it. But I don't like to revisit it so much. If you really want to know the story, y'all can go out and get High on Arrival and read that. But it's something that was powerful for me, and I think that on some level, all of us who are getting sober and going through the journey from sobriety to recovery, there's a lot to identify with. It was dark and it was brutal, and I was on a plane within 12 hours, to a treatment center where I spent 5 months, and and then integrating back into my home where I'd been living with drug dealers for several years, and getting my home back to a working order, and reuniting with my son, who's now 28. It was definitely difficult, but certainly not an experience that I would discount in any way, because it held so much meaning and power for me.
Mackenzie Phillips joining us tonight on Recovery Coast to Coast. Mackenzie, who was the most influential person in your recovery?
Bill W.
Good answer. Good answer. Good answer.
There have been a lot of angels, a lot of Eskimos. Back in 1992, I went to Alina Lodge in Blairstown, New Jersey.
For the reluctant to recover.
For the reluctant to recover, and I was one of the last cycles to go through with Jerry Delaney.
Oh my God! God, as we understand her.
Yes.
Geraldine O. Delaney.
Exactly. That was her license plate, G-O-D.
Yep.
And she was very hard on me, and
of course she was.
She would. I mean, getting ready to get up and share my story at 4:00 this afternoon, and Mrs. D is a big part of it. I mean, good old Michael Hornstein is here. Lena Lodge is represented, and she's my hero.
Yeah,
she's my hero, and I remember sitting at Alina Lodge, with a zipper on my lapel that Mrs. D had pinned there to teach me how to listen. I wasn't allowed to speak for 3 months.
Of course.
And I remember thinking, I'm going to sit at that table and have lunch with Mrs. Delaney one day. I'm going to be behind that podium one day. And I was on the board of Alina Lodge after that for many years.
Wow.
Yeah.
No kidding.
Mm-hmm. So, Mrs. D lives in my heart. She lives in my heart. I can see her in my mind's eye right now.
I can too.
Wagging her finger in my face.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Mackenzie Phillips is joining us, talking about now the good stuff, the recovery. Talk about how your recovery has grown from then to now.
Well, I mean, from then, I think I was still holding on to some sort of idea that I was better or special or different, that I couldn't really walk the middle line because, I was Mackenzie Phillips. And what I've really come to understand is that we are, if we are where we are today by way of everywhere we've been, that's one thing. But my job is to identify. My job is to be a part of something much larger, just a little cog in a huge machine, and that's a big change for me. Traveling all over to conferences and getting to be in this amazing group of people here at NATAP, and next 2 weeks at West Coast Symposium, and all over the country. It is like it lights my fire like nothing else ever has. I love this.
Tell me about the transformation to being a counselor.
Well, what's there to tell? You go to school and you intern and you do, grunt work, and then comes that incredible moment where you sit down with a client in your office and you close the door and you are autonomous, and you are in this incredible position to keep reminding yourself that it's not about you. That it's about the client, and that you meet the client where the client is, and that you're only there to guide and motivate, and that it's just, it's incredible.
Do you remember your first client?
I do to this day. Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do any acting?
I do occasionally here and there. Like I got an offer to do an episode of Hot in Cleveland with my former co-star Valerie
really?
Bertinelli.
Wow.
So I went to my boss, Mike Bloom, and I'm like, Mike, I don't know what to do.
Mike's a good guy.
And Mike said, well, you have to do this. Go, do it.
Oh.
And it turned out perfectly because the ladies at Hot in Cleveland, they work like 4 hours a day. They got it made. So I was able to maintain my caseload and work on Hot in Cleveland at the same time.
Oh, my goodness.
So if it fits in with my schedule, my work as a counselor, my work in the addiction field comes first. And of course, my family. You know, I have a 28-year-old son and lots of dogs and cats and, you know, a very full life. But, you know, I do like to act and I do enjoy it. And if it allows me the visibility to further the breaking down of the stigmatization of addiction, I'm down. I'm there.
My goodness. Mackenzie Phillips joining us for a few moments on Recovery Coast to Coast. You speaking around the country as well?
Yeah, I mean, you know, a little bit here and there. Yeah.
Very good. What do you say to someone who said, I've tried treatment, it doesn't work?
Well, it's not treatment that doesn't work. It's you that didn't work. People think of treatment as some sort of magic wand that we wave in front of the face of a family.
And in 28 days, you're going to be well.
Right. Well, you know, I mean, look, I know people with 28 days that are more serene and doing more in the day that they're in than some people with 28 years.
Yeah.
So,
Agreed.
You know, all we can do is lay the tools at your feet. Your practical application of them will be the barometer of your success in long-term recovery. So, you know, I've tried treatment and it doesn't work. Well, next time, pick up the book.
Perfect. Mackenzie Phillips joining us tonight on Recovery Coast to Coast. Mackenzie, thank you for your time.
My pleasure.
I hope you've enjoyed my conversation with actress Mackenzie Phillips, who, by the way, has been in recovery now for the past 18 years since her relapse back in 2008. By the way, I want to remind listeners of this podcast that if you would like to tell your story of recovery, regardless of the path you've chosen, and as long as you have been in continuous recovery for 1 year or more, do drop us a note, recoverycoasttocoast@comcast.net. Coming up next, The Last Word, with the author of the best-selling book, Eat, Pray, Love, Elizabeth Gilbert.
She has always been your baby, but when your daughter got into drugs and alcohol, she turned into a stranger. What do you do? Where do you turn? Contact Sundown M Ranch. Sundown's nationally recognized youth treatment program guides young people back to a life free of drugs and alcohol. All treatment is gender-specific and directed by caring certified professionals in a safe environment. You can get your daughter back and get to know her again. Go to www.sundown.org to learn more.
And now, as promised, here is the best-selling author of Eat, Pray, Love, the amazing Elizabeth Gilbert, a woman in long-term recovery who gets today's last word.
I'm an addict, Oprah. Don't get me wrong.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, just for today, let's just stay in 12-step recovery language. Just for today, I'm doing really well. You know, like, I have a deep respect for my addiction and the power of it. And that's why I go to a 12-step meeting every single day in various fellowships that I belong to. I sponsor people. That helps me stay sober. I have a sponsor. I turn things over in the rooms that I don't want people to know about me. Mm-hmm. Like, I work a program, and I work a very, very disciplined program. But the main thing that I do is that every single morning when I wake up, I open my notebook and I do this thing that's called two-way prayer that the original founders of AA actually said was the most important thing that an addict in recovery can have, is a direct communion with the higher power of their understanding. And they gave a lot of liberal concept to what your understanding is, whatever that needs to be. But I open up my notebook and I write these words: Dear God, what would you have me know today? And then I download from my higher power what I need for the day. My life has become, and I know you get this, all I want to do is be of service. So if I stay well and I stay sober and I don't throw my life into somebody else's life and I communicate with my higher power every day, then I have the opportunity every single day to be of service.
Well, that wraps up this edition of Recovery Coast to Coast, the national podcast. If you've enjoyed our podcast, and I certainly hope you have, please share it with a friend. And if you'd like to get in touch, our email is recoverycoasttocoast@comcast.net. Also, please hit the subscribe or follow button. It's free, and you'll be notified the next time we publish a podcast. If you're considering treatment for a friend or a loved one, be sure and visit NAATP.org/AID. It's a list of those treatment programs that adhere to the strict ethical guidelines for alcoholism and addiction treatment. One of them certainly is Sundown M Ranch, but there are thousands more good treatment programs around the country. And join us next time for America's Voice for Recovery, Recovery Coast to Coast, the national podcast. And another shout out to our sponsoring organization, Sundown M Ranch, where recovery begins, sundown.org. I'm Neil Scott, reminding you to stay healthy, live in gratitude, and be kind to others. And remember, the bright side of addiction is recovery. Pass it on.